Hello everyone, Progressive Hoodie here. Today I'm here to talk about what I think Bernie Sanders can do better as we move forward in this primary. These are just my critiques, things that I've noticed and or been frustrated with. And I think Bernie Sanders' campaign has always been on an uphill battle. We've always been the underdogs. Even when he was leading, we were still the underdogs. But this is just my ideas of some things that I think that he can do better. Um, So one of the things that I've noticed is I feel like he doesn't always speak to black issues directly as he probably could. And I don't know why that is, but I feel like there are certain times where he doesn't. He has this habit of sort of pivoting at times from those issues. I remember one time in the debate he was asked something concerning black issues. I don't remember specifically what it was. And he started talking about climate change, and the moderator stopped and was like, whoa, you need to be, well, so we're not talking about that. Now, he was trying to tie it into that issue. So he wasn't trying to just simply change the subject. I think we had just gotten out of a discussion about climate change, and we were segueing into that, and they wanted to ask him about that, but he still wanted to answer that question and tie it into it and say, hey, look, climate justice is racial justice. Like, we need to understand that how we approach this climate issue is going to be so important. It's going to impact minorities in a seriously severe way. So he was trying to bring that up, but I didn't like the way that he did it. And it wasn't, for me, like, because I have looked at Bernie Sanders' record and I know a lot more about him than the average person that's just sitting out there watching these debates on television, I still trust him, and it doesn't turn me off from his candidacy. But I was just thinking to myself, strategically, just wasn't a good move. Like, let's answer the question first, then you can tie it into climate change. But don't start by making, it seemed like, even to me, it was like, why is he changing the subject to talk about something else that they're not asking him about? So, not a good look. You got to be strategic here. And I think in general, that is probably the theme here with these critiques, is that just a little too principled. Bernie Sanders just a little too principled, right? And not strategic enough. And this is just one of those times like, oh, well, technically I am tying it back to that. Yeah, but why? Just answer the question. Don't do that, because then it looks like that, and then they're going to run with it. And of course, you don't get any leeway, because you're not the establishment's little favorite. You're not DC's little favorite. You're not the legacy media's little favorite. So just don't do that. Don't give them anything. Answer questions. All right? Don't change it and make it into something else, especially when it comes to black specific issues. I'm going to give you an example later where I think he needs to stop answering those questions in the way that he is. But for this, don't turn and talk about something else. Also, you need to talk about why Joe Biden is bad on these issues, and isn't good for black people. The crime bill, he wrote it, disproportionately incarcerating black people. We have over 2 million people incarcerated in this country, more than China, more than Russia. It's just absolutely crazy, more than places that have 4 times the number of people that we have in our country. And we are incarcerating so much more of our populace. Joe Biden is in part responsible for that. So he needs to bring those things up. He needs to also tie his proposals to black issues a little stronger. I think these are all things that would help a little bit within the black community. Like, show how Medicare for all is going to help everybody. Show how that minimum wage increase is. These are things that are going to impact African Americans disproportionately. So many of us are in these minimum wage jobs. And so you need to be able to tie it back into those things. And this message of economic populism is so important, and I think rings true. But then there are some people who say, my race is still a factor, and it is. There's still discrimination. There's still people who see us as second-class citizens, even if not necessarily by law. And I think you need, even if it's not necessarily you're allowed to discriminate by law, right, on the basis of those things. But there are people who still see it that way. I think you need to speak to those things more directly. So that has been my slight frustrations with Bernie Sanders with regard to, you know, how he's handled those relations with the black community. Now let's get to my next point. Bernie Sanders has got to back his surrogates. Like, it just feels weak to me when you back off and constantly apologize for these things. Nina Turner, she wrote this op-ed where she was talking about how, Joe Biden has basically betrayed black people. Where is this here? Joe Biden has repeatedly betrayed black voters. While Bernie Sanders has always stood up for African Americans, Joe Biden has repeatedly let us down. And it's true. I mean, I like this too. Will our community side with the former Vice President Joe Biden, who has repeatedly betrayed black voters, to side with Republican lawmakers and undermine our progress? Or will we stand with Vermont Senator Sanders and a movement that has been fighting for racial and economic justice since the civil rights era? I mean, he talks about, working with segregationists, being Strom Thurmond's friend. I mean, these are issues that I think it's harder for you as a white person to try to navigate those waters, but someone like Nina Turner has a little more authority to do so. And when she does, you can't come out there and be like, no, I think Joe Biden has been great for black people. He's been wonderful. Well, then that's awesome. Then we don't need to vote for you then. I mean, why would you do that? Like, you don't do that. You need to come out and be, heck yeah. Even if Bernie Sanders was in a position where he felt like, well, I want to take the high ground here. You could just simply have said when they asked him about it, instead of just being like, nope, that was wrong and blah, blah, blah. You could have just simply said, you know what? As a black woman, Nina Turner definitely has every right to say how she feels about this issue and to speak her mind about it. And I'm not going to sit here. I mean, this is my terminology, but he can say it however he wants. I'm not going to sit here and white-splain to Nina Turner what she should or shouldn't be saying to Joe Biden. She has the right to express her opinions and her feelings on Joe Biden. I do know this, and then you can go into the issues that Joe Biden has that should have every black person in this country questioning why they would support him, instead of just default supporting him because he was Joe Biden, because he was Obama's vice president. Those are things you need to get into. And Nina Turner opens up this discussion where we're able to get into it. And what do? You let him go. You just constantly let him go and not back your surrogate. Why would they put their neck out there on the line to say these things that may be controversial, but true, if you're not going to stand up and have their back when that time comes? Let's talk about Zephyr Teachout. So Zephyr Teachout did an article where she basically said, Joe Biden has a corruption problem. And she backs it up. I mean, she's not just like, oh, he corrupt, I don't like him and I don't want him to win. I mean, she backs it up with actual facts. She talks about finance, the bankruptcy bill, how it has put such a burden on Americans in this country, and how people don't want to vote for someone who's made their lives more difficult, which he did do during that. He even opposed allowing Democrats to make amendments to that bill. I mean, my goodness, healthcare. He has been taking money. He's refused to say he's not going to take money from these health insurance executives and pharmaceutical executives. And he's refused to be principled in that area. He's continued to take that money, that big money. And what is he doing? He's coming out with a health care plan that leaves 10 million people uninsured. I mean, that is corruption. That is corruption. You take their money and then you do what's best for them. You come with a plan that leaves those insurance companies intact to the detriment of the American people and at their expense. I mean, I don't understand how it can get more corrupt than that. It's just, and then she also talks about climate change. I mean, the dude is not serious about climate change. He took a pledge not to take fossil fuel money. And then what did he do? He turns right around and breaks that pledge. This guy is as corrupt as it gets. He is absolutely corrupt. He's one of the most corrupt people. And it shows in everything that he does and the examples that she gives. And what does he do? He comes out and apologizes to Joe Biden for this op-ed. Again, why would your surrogates put themselves out there and risk their own limbs when you're not even going to stand up and fight for them? They continue to come out and say these truthful things about Joe Biden, and you continue to apologize. You got to stop it. Love you, Senator Sanders. You got to stop it. We're not going to win like this, people. Kind of related to that is the whole Bernie Bros things. Like, that needs to die, and you need to help it to die. And continuing to apologize for that, oh yeah, I know, so many terrible people online. Like, stop giving that oxygen. Don't you be like, okay, we're going to talk about real issues. Let's talk about actual issues. There are people dying in the streets. Let's talk about actual issues. There are people living on the streets. Let's talk about real issues. We have people that don't have health care in this country. Let's talk about real issues. The student debt in this country is crushing a generation of young people. Let's talk about real issues. I'm not going to talk about Elizabeth Warren being a child who's getting her feelings hurt online. Like, I don't care about that at all. Nobody in the electorate really cares about that. Maybe there are a couple of Elizabeth Warren stans who actually think that's important, but most of us do not live our lives on Twitter. Stop giving attention to that. Stop apologizing for it. Your supporters are passionate about these issues, and they realize that this is one of the most important elections of our lifetime, that it is now or never for some of these important issues, that we stand up and do what's right for the American people. That's where we are. We're at an important crossroads here. And your supporters know that. It is urgent. It is time that we do something about these issues. And with every day that we continue in the mainstream media continues to push Joe Biden, a person who is clearly not fit to be president right now, who is constantly forgetting his own name, basically, on this stuff. I mean, Biden-Bama? Dude, your name is Biden. How are you doing that? And to do it more than once? We see urgency in this issue. We don't want to take a chance on that. And we see some urgency in this issue. So for you to keep going out there and apologizing for the passion of people who want us to all have health care, who want to take this country into a green new age where we are actually concerned about our planet and preserving it for the next generation. Who cares about someone's feelings online? Those people need to grow up, and they need to see the bigger picture, which is that if we don't do something about this now, we risk our future. It's as simple as that. So Elizabeth Warren and everyone else can spare me with how they're hurt by some Bernie bro and what they said online. Somebody that might be a Bernie Sanders supporter. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Stop apologizing. Change the subject, talk about something else, whatever. Here's where you have an opportunity where I don't mind you redirecting. Because again, why would people go out there, volunteer, canvas, call, text, if they know that you're just going to be apologizing all the time? It looks weak. It doesn't look strong. Right now, we need to look strong. We need to fight now more than ever. There's not even a debate. There's no debate between now and the next round of elections tomorrow. Joe Biden's out there hiding out. We need to fight and take this fight to him, so he's got to stop apologizing for that. Look, overall, honestly, Bernie Sanders is just too principled, I guess. I mean, he's just better than the rest of us. I've said it over and over and over again. He wants to be principled. He wants to stand on this, and I completely understand that. But there comes a point where you have to fight. The establishment is going to fight dirty. So far, we haven't discovered them doing anything that's actually breaking rules. Although, again, I'm still giving Iowa the side eye. Something won't right there. Something won't on the up and up in Iowa. But ever since then, it's been more about gamesmanship. It hasn't been necessarily direct breaking the rules, but it's been gamesmanship. Like, I'm going to game the system. I'm going to do everything that I can within the system. Oh, look at all these people who just so happen to drop out the day before an election and endorse your opponent. Wow, look at that. It's been that sort of thing. And it's working. Unfortunately, it is working. And Bernie Sanders wants to continue to play clean. And that's, I don't know. If you have any ideas about what you think Bernie Sanders should do or what has frustrated you with the campaign, what maybe might be a new direction for them, let me know. But I just feel like we need something big to happen before tomorrow. Otherwise, I don't see tomorrow being any different than last Tuesday. I honestly, my prediction for tomorrow is we're going to get curb stomped. I really do think we're going to get curb stomped tomorrow. I will see. I hope I'm wrong. I want you to be wrong. Someone in the comment section, please tell me I'm wrong. But I think we're going to get curb stomped. I don't see anything major that has happened with Sanders' campaign to give it new life and new momentum. And when you're out there apologizing for this and apologizing for that and letting the mainstream media craft their own narrative and not fighting back against it, that's a problem. You need to call out Joe Biden's corruption. He is corrupt. Stop letting him off the hook. And there was something else he did recently. For some reason, it's slipping my mind, where he let Joe Biden completely off the hook. Somebody asked him, do you think Joe Biden can win? So he had gone through this whole list of things about, these are the issue with Biden. That's the issue. Okay, do you think Joe Biden can win? Yeah, I think Joe Biden can beat Trump. No. What are you doing? The answer is always no. Can my opponent beat Trump? No. None of them can. I'm the only person that can beat Trump. Always, always, always. It doesn't matter if you don't think it, say it. But see, Bernie Sanders is not going to do that. He's not going to say it if he doesn't think it. He's going to be principled. No, I think Joe Biden could beat Trump in some strange set of circumstances with this, that, and the other thing. But that's not going to help your campaign. I think he can beat Trump. Great, we'll continue voting for him. He has the momentum. He can beat Trump. Even Bernie Sanders thinks he can beat Trump. Great, we're good. Oh my gosh. All right, y'all. Have a good one. I'll be back with more. Bye. Deuces.